Hey, this is Mr. Endris from Mr. Endris Science Brainery. I just finished a video on weathering, erosion, deposition, and plate tectonics, and how that changed the Earth's surface for MS ESS 22. So if you're interested, check that out. But what I did was in that video is I started talking about uniformitarianism, and so I thought I would do just a really short video to explain what that is and why that's significant. What uniformitarianism is it is the scientific principle that things happen today like they did in the past. So the Earth is changing through, let's say, plate tectonics. If those plates are moving at 3 centimeters a year today, and it's moving up, then yesterday it was 3 centimeters behind, and the day before that was 3 centimeters behind. And so we can say, well, what was it like 100 years ago? Well, 100 times however many, 3 times 365. You see what I'm saying is that it's the same processes that are happening. They're just happening over and over and over again. Well, why even have a principle like that? Because you think, well, that just makes sense, right? Yesterday I was 1 day younger. And the reason is because science is kind of a really a new discipline, or a new word discipline. Before you had the peer review and all the rules that we have for science, the scientific method and data collection, all this stuff. People really didn't know what to think, and so they might look at the Earth and go, well, how did this happen? And really, uniformitarianism is a reaction to the religious belief that the Earth's surface changes through these big catastrophes. And mostly I'm talking about, like in the Bible, the flood. So Christianity was the most prevalent religion in the places where science develops. And the big belief there is that there was this huge flood that happened. If you're not familiar with the Judeo-Christian beliefs, is that it's hard to imagine that. But if you're not, at some point, God gets very upset with humanity and sends a big flood, and it covers the whole earth. And so, if that happens, then that's going to create some changes, right? Because water changes the Earth's surface. And so it can really punctuate, or it can really speed up certain things. And in fact, with plate tectonics, there are some theologians that would say, well, what happened is that plate tectonics is true, it's happening, but it was really sped up by that flood. Okay, and so that's called catastrophism. Catastrophism is that these big catastrophes happened. And it doesn't have to be religious in nature. Like you just had, the Earth is pretty much the way it is, but then you had these huge comets that hit the Earth, or asteroids that hit the Earth, or some big catastrophe happens that changed the Earth's surface. So the Earth is just like it is for a long time, and then something really big happens and it changes. And I think what you'll get is, when you look at the history of science, there's an awful lot there that is a reaction to religion. And some people think that's a very good thing. Like, well, that's great. We're getting religion out of science. Some people think that's a very bad thing. Oh no, religion needs to be in everywhere. But really, it's just a thing that's happened because people were reactionary against. I'm going to cut that part out. I didn't want to cut things in this video, but I will. Is a reaction against religion in science, like just trying to say, okay, we're going to have a pure secular humanistic way that things have to develop, and in order to do that, we're going to have to cut out anything that's supernatural, anything that we can't understand. We're going to have to cut that out. And so a lot, if you have a lot of people who are saying, no, it's only through supernatural stuff, then a lot of the scientists are reactionary against that. And so I think you'll find through the history of science that an awful lot of principles that first came up were a reaction. And uniformitarianism is one of those. Now, in more recent times, we say, well, uniformitarianism happens, but so does catastrophism. Like, these big catastrophes do happen. And so we've come up with kind of a merger of the two, that we have the same processes happen now as they did in the past, but every now and then you will have an asteroid that hits the Earth. Okay, every now and then you will have a flood. Every now and then you will have these big catastrophes that happen, and they will punctuate, or they will speed up the processes. But then once those things happen, the asteroid hits the Earth and it creates this huge crater. Well, then they are subject to all those same uniform laws. The weather, they will also weather and erode just like anything else does. So anyway, that is our current understanding of how the universe works. So anyway, that is our current understanding of how the surface of the Earth changes over time by a uniform process. And I'm not going to say so anyway, so what? Okay. Punctuated over time. And so one of the things that is interesting about uniformitarianism, and this is one of the major principles I think that we can get as we're starting to look for how the Earth developed and how life changed, is that the key to the past is the present. So we study everything right here, right now, and answer all of our questions right here, right now. And by doing that, we can start to figure out what the Earth must have looked like back then. All right, so that's our current understanding of how the Earth's surface changes through these uniform things like plate tectonics, weather erosion, deposition, chemical breakdowns, and everything. But that every now and then it can be punctuated by these catastrophes.